Dear seeker, have you ever closed your eyes in deep meditation and seen a faint glow behind the darkness, a subtle blue circle surrounded by golden light, with a tiny radiant star shining at its center? That is not imagination, nor some play of the mind. It is the eternal eye of spirit, the Ajna Chakra, the Kutastha Chaitanya, the divine window through which the infinite gazes back at you. Babaji once revealed to his disciples, within the forehead of every soul shines a sacred doorway, a sun hidden behind the clouds of thought. When the clouds part, the star of God appears. The spiritual eye is that star, the gateway between mortal perception and divine vision. Through it, the wandering mind is called home, and the seeker begins to see as God sees, not with fleshly eyes, but with the clear sight of the soul. When one's gaze is lifted upward in reverence and stillness, the darkness of the inner world begins to tremble and dissolve, and the golden halo of cosmic energy reveals itself. In its center, the blue field radiates calm intelligence, and deep within that, the pure white star pulses with the love of the infinite. Babaji teaches that this is not a light to be analyzed but to be adored. The moment you behold it with devotion, your inner world transforms, thought ceases, heart expands, and you are drawn into a silence that is alive with divine presence. This is the sacred threshold where meditation becomes revelation. So, dear seeker, when next you close your eyes, do not look into darkness, look through it. For behind the veil of shadow, the eternal light awaits, calling you home through the luminous eye of spirit. Dear seeker, the Ajna Chakra, the sacred center between your eyebrows, is not merely a point in your body, it is the divine command post of consciousness itself. In the language of the sages, Ajna means to command, for this is the throne from which your soul directs the flow of mind and energy. Babaji teaches that when awareness gathers here, the restless currents of thought obey the silent will of spirit. The senses begin to withdraw inward, and a serene power awakens behind the eyes, the power of divine perception. This chakra is the bridge between the human mind and the superconscious self. When energy rises to this center, the fog of duality begins to lift, and the world no longer appears fragmented. You start to see the hidden harmony in all things. The Ajna Chakra is the meeting place of intuition and wisdom, of vision and silence. It is the inner sun that illumines both the outer world and the unseen realms beyond. Babaji once told his disciples, when your attention dwells steadily at the seat of the spiritual eye, you begin to behold truth directly, not as belief but as living light. In this awakened state, you no longer think of peace, you become peace, you no longer seek divinity, you see divinity in everything. To understand the Ajna Chakra is to realize that your real eyes are within, and that true sight begins when the outer ones close. This is why Babaji calls it the eye of command, for the moment you turn your gaze inward with devotion and stillness, the soul reclaims its sovereignty, and divine will begins to guide your thoughts, your actions, and your destiny itself. Dear seeker, when the restless mind grows still and your awareness gathers deeply at the point between the eyebrows, a mysterious radiance begins to appear, the spiritual eye, the true symbol of divine consciousness. Babaji describes it as a holy vision seen not with the physical eyes, but with the eye of the soul. In the silent chamber of meditation, when breath and thought dissolve into stillness, this radiant vision unfolds, a deep sapphire blue field encircled by a ring of golden light, and within it, a tiny, pulsating white star of infinite brilliance. This is no mere vision of imagination, it is the living reflection of your higher self, the doorway through which spirit reveals its boundless nature. Babaji teaches that every aspect of this divine symbol carries profound meaning. The golden ring that surrounds the blue field is the eternal vibration, Aum, the sustaining force of creation, the cosmic dance of energy and matter. The blue field represents Christ or Krishna consciousness, that calm, compassionate awareness which perceives truth beyond duality. And the radiant white star at the center is the spirit beyond creation, the infinite intelligence, pure and formless, beyond sound, beyond light, beyond thought. Babaji lovingly instructs his disciples, when the spiritual eye appears, behold it in devotion. Do not grasp it with the mind, but embrace it with the heart. For it is not by analysis that the divine vision deepens, but by love and surrender. The more one gazes with reverence, the more the star draws the soul inward, past form, past color, into the vast stillness of the eternal. The spiritual eye is both symbol and passage, the mirror and the gate, the silent promise that within you, the infinite is waiting to be seen. Dear seeker, to awaken the Ajna Chakra, the luminous seat of the spiritual eye, one must learn the sacred art of stillness and upward awareness. Babaji gently teaches that divine vision is not forced into being, it blossoms naturally when body, breath, and mind are harmonized in devotion. Sit in quietude, spine straight like a mountain, head slightly lifted, as if gazing into the infinite. Let the eyes close softly, and direct your inner gaze upward to the point between the eyebrows, not with strain, but with love. In this silent ascent, your attention becomes the bridge between matter and spirit. Babaji often reminds his disciples, where your gaze rests, there your energy flows. And where your energy flows, there awakening begins. So, as you breathe slowly and deeply, imagine a current of light rising through the spine, flowing gently into the Ajna center. Each inhalation carries your awareness upward, each exhalation dissolves tension and thought. Now, let your inner vision settle in the darkness behind closed eyes. Do not chase forms or colors, simply watch the stillness grow. You may silently repeat a sacred mantra or affirmation, such as, I am the light of the spiritual eye, calm, clear, and all-seeing. In time, faint glimmers of light may appear, first as soft hues, then as radiant patterns. When this happens, remain calm and still, do not grasp at the vision. The light reveals itself to devotion, not curiosity. Babaji explains that true concentration arises not from effort, but from surrender, when your heart is quiet and your gaze steady in upward love. The Ajna Chakra awakens not through ambition, but through purity of feeling. In that sacred moment of perfect stillness, the darkness yields to light, and the seeker begins to see through the eye of the soul. Dear seeker, Babaji often reminds that no technique, no posture, and no mantra alone can open the gates of the spiritual eye, it is devotion that turns the key. The Ajna Chakra responds not to effort but to surrender, not to the mind's curiosity but to the heart's quiet love. When the sacred light begins to appear within, many seekers become eager, analyzing, questioning, trying to hold it still, and in doing so, the vision fades like mist before the morning sun. Babaji's guidance is simple and profound. When the star shines, do not grasp it, merge into it. Offer your heart, not your thought. The light of the spiritual eye is alive, it breathes with divine intelligence. It is not meant to be studied, but entered. Devotion softens the boundary between seer and seen, it allows the infinite to draw you inward. As the breath quiets and the heartbeat slows, an immense peace begins to bloom at the forehead, like the dawn before the sun rises. This is the moment of true communion, when effort dissolves and awareness becomes a silent prayer. Babaji teaches that stillness is the highest worship. When the waves of thought rest upon the ocean of devotion, the spirit reveals itself without sound or symbol. The seeker who loves God purely, not asking, not demanding, begins to feel that same love shining back from the center of the blue light. It is a dialogue without words, a gaze without end. In that holy silence, the ego melts, and the soul begins to remember its own vastness. The spiritual eye opens not through will, but through wonder, through the trembling humility of a heart that whispers, Beloved, I am yours. Dear seeker, when the sacred Ajna Chakra begins to awaken, the change does not come as noise or spectacle, it comes as silence that speaks. The first sign of awakening is a deep, unshakable calm that settles behind the eyes, as if eternity itself were watching through you. Babaji teaches that the blossoming of the spiritual eye is not only an inner vision but a transformation of perception. The whole world begins to shimmer with quiet intelligence, as though God were gazing through every form. You may notice, dear one, that intuition awakens like a gentle river. You begin to know truth before thought has time to speak. Confusion gives way to clarity, not by reasoning, but by inner certainty. Your dreams become luminous, symbols filled with guidance rather than restlessness. Even challenges that once stirred anxiety now seem guided by a hidden hand of grace. Babaji explains that these are signs that the soul has begun to live from the higher mind, the seat of divine command, where intuition flows directly from spirit. As this awakening deepens, your desires grow simpler, purer. The craving for outer things begins to fade, replaced by a sweet contentment that no worldly success can equal. The mind, once a wandering servant, becomes an obedient instrument of light. Thoughts move in harmony with truth, speech carries power and peace. And through it all, an invisible stillness remains, your silent witness, ever awake. Babaji calls this state superconscious vision, the seeing that does not depend on eyes, the knowing that is untouched by intellect. It is the dawning of divine sight, where inner and outer worlds merge into one vast field of awareness. In this luminous clarity, the seeker begins to live not for God, but from God, guided, sustained, and illumined by the silent eye of the soul. Dear seeker, the purpose of awakening the Ajna Chakra is not merely to behold the light, it is to enter it. The luminous star that shines within the spiritual eye is not an end but a doorway, a sacred passage through which the soul returns to its divine origin. Babaji calls it the lighted portal to the infinite. When your awareness becomes utterly still, the blue field expands, the golden halo vibrates with power, and the radiant white star in the center begins to draw you inward, gently, irresistibly, as if the whole universe were inhaling you into its heart. In that holy ascent, all boundaries of the body, thought, and time dissolve. You no longer feel yourself as a limited being meditating on God, you become the very consciousness that was once your goal. Babaji teaches, when the mind is absorbed in the star of spirit, the seer, the seeing, and the seen become one light. This is the sacred union known as Samadhi, where the soul merges with the Supreme, and the search itself disappears. There is no longer a you looking at the infinite, only the infinite remains, looking through you. Dear one, this is the destiny of every seeker, to return through the spiritual eye into the boundless silence from which all creation emerged. Each meditation, each moment of devotion, each upward gaze of love polishes the mirror of your consciousness, until the divine face is reflected perfectly within. Babaji assures his disciples that when the light of the spiritual eye becomes steady and your heart is free from desire, the infinite will reveal itself as your own true self, eternal, radiant, and all-loving. In that sacred realization, the journey ends, and yet it truly begins, for you awaken as the light itself, the eternal witness behind every star. Dear seeker, as we come to the end of this sacred journey, pause for a moment, close your eyes, breathe softly, and feel that gentle glow at the point between your eyebrows. That is not imagination, it is the call of your own higher self, whispering from eternity. The Ajna Chakra, the divine eye of spirit, is your inner compass, the star that never fades. When you learn to behold it in devotion, you no longer walk through life blindly, you walk guided by the luminous hand of the infinite. Babaji's timeless words echo through the silence, behold the spiritual eye in love. It is the face of your beloved, the mirror of your own soul. Remember, dear one, this journey is not about chasing visions or seeking miracles. It is about becoming still enough to see what has always been within you. Every act of meditation, every breath offered in devotion, cleanses the lens of your inner sight, until, one day, the golden ring, the blue field, and the white star shine steadily within your heart as one eternal light. Carry this awareness with you in your daily life. Speak gently, think purely, and gaze inward often. Let your actions be guided not by impulse, but by that calm presence behind the forehead, the silent witness that knows truth before thought. When the world feels uncertain, return to that center, and you will feel Babaji's blessing flow like golden light through your being. If this message touched your heart, dear seeker, share your light in the comments below, tell us what the spiritual eye means to you, or how you experience divine stillness within. Your words may guide another soul home. Until we meet again in light and silence, remain anchored in the presence of the divine. Om Kutasthaya Namah. Jai Gurudev.